Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. For today's video, we have a very peculiar game that I'm happy to show you. How to deal with counter picks, specifically in the mid lane. Enjoy. First and foremost, there's an unspoken rule among junglers. Going for a full clear is generally worth it over ganking early. If you interrupt your clear to gank, you'll mess up your pathing, meaning you'll take longer to clear fully, risk losing Scuttle Crab, and lose early game priority. However, if you go mid, it means you've already made a move within your path, so it's sometimes worth the risk. The only issue is that most mid laners are hard to kill. Right now, with the game state as it is, almost every mage or assassin mid has tons of mobility, can go barrier or teleport, and often packs crowd control. In this situation though, we're dealing with a set mid laner, which means he's likely to play aggressively, moving forward with no escape tools. In other words, he's practically asking to be ganked, and it would be rude of us not to respond. Another thing about these unconventional picks is that if they get focused and start losing, they tend to tilt hard. They often go in with a superior mindset, thinking they've chosen a sick counter pick that will give them a higher chance to win. But if they start losing, they typically don't know how to play from behind, as most off-meta players rely on getting an early lead. Denying that could put them in an unfamiliar and unfavorable position. And as the saying goes, if it works, keep doing it until it doesn't. That's how life works. After experimenting with this Hex Flash, I found it highly effective in the early game. Here's why. Bot lane often pushes vision deeper into our jungle, so if we approach from the dragon pit side, especially when there's no dragon up, it reduces our chance of getting spotted. Approaching from Krugs takes longer, and if the enemy is already in an aggressive position, they'll have a couple of seconds to react. But if we come from behind on a pink ward, they'll barely have time to respond. Now, without flash, you can take the longer route, but then there's a good chance you'll be spotted by a ward placed by the enemy jungler or mid laner over the river or enemy blue camp. This route is fantastic for early jungle ganks. Even if we only use this flash once, it already fulfilled its purpose by securing a double kill for Draven. He cashed in on his adoration stacks, getting a big gold boost. With that advantage, I'm confident that even if Janna leaves his lane, Draven can handle a 1 versus 2 situation effectively. Another interesting thing about this game is their choice to put Victor against Mundo in the top lane. From my experience, Mundo generally does well against poke. He might not win in terms of trades, but he'll survive. Sure, he might lose some tower plates and fall behind in CS, but he stays alive for most of the game. Given that, I decided there was no need to help him, since by mid-game, he should be able to dive Victor on his own if he's a decent Mundo player. With that in mind, our main objective now is to help Draven build a strong lead while preventing Set from bullying our mid laner, Galio. This seems like a solid strategy, but one downside is our comp. Aside from Draven, we're lacking damage, as most of our team are off-tank champions. Another thing to note, I'm helping Galio mid, which is driving Set crazy. Here's the backstory. Our mid laner wanted to pick Sylas, probably because he's a Faker fan, but Sylas got banned, so he went for Galio, following Faker's strategy from that Resident Sleeper finals. The enemy team then picked Set and swapped him mid to counter our Galio, putting our mid laner in a shitty situation. As the jungler, I need to step up for him. Unlike Galio, I didn't get countered and have more freedom to impact the map. Even if I were countered, it would only really matter around objectives. So my new mission is clear. I'm going to tilt Set so hard he regrets that lane swap. At this point, I didn't find any better opportunity to use my Herald than mid lane. Mid lane opens up the map and provides free vision, unlike the bot or top lanes. Vision is incredibly important because they have fiddlesticks, and if you play against him a lot, you know he tends to hide on the map. The only way to force him into visibility is by taking mid lane. By doing this, he'll most likely show up either between camps or to clear the wave. Unfortunately, we didn't get much out of it, but the good news is that we managed to pull out an ultimate from fiddlesticks, which gave us about 1 minute of freedom until the next objective. Now here's the funny thing. A lot was happening in the alt chat. It wasn't toxicity or flame, it was more like provocation. Both teams were fighting at random places, ignoring objectives. And the funny part is that here we are doing the Drake while the rest of the team is chasing the enemy. It reminded me of those commercial breaks in boxing matches, where the lady holds up the round number walking by us. I do have a lot of damage, and if a squishy target shows up in my range, I'm confident I have enough damage to kill them and escape. The idea is to build Protobelt for that small dash, which I think would be really good against their composition. Well, since we're playing with a Faker fanboy, I assumed that rushing Baron at 20 minutes would be the right call, but the sad part is that my team decided to immediately go for another random fight. Now, we have a huge issue. Mundo and Galio are both tanky players who don't do much damage. Their DPS is a bit low, so if they engage, it turns into a very long skirmish or team fight. This is why the play needs to be made in a way that allows Draven to deal as much damage as possible. Janna as the support isn't someone who helps with the damage, she's more of a counter-engage support. So, it's not the most favorable situation. However, if you look at it from another perspective, we're forcing Fiddlesticks into a defensive position, which prevents him from engaging on us. Now, another funny thing that happened is that the fight provoked so much action that everyone ended up using their spells. So yeah, from all that back and forth, Draven managed to secure a pentakill, which skyrocketed our team's morale to the moon. Now we just need to make sure we don't mess up the Baron power push. One thing to mention, I checked Xerath's abilities, and he doesn't use thunder or lightning. I think it's called arcane magic. But one thing's for sure, if you dodge his stun, it's always a guaranteed kill, even if they have flash. Another thing is, we don't have any wave clear, so our siege, even with Baron, is pretty bad. I assume my mid laner built to have save wave clear, but it is not enough. Galio's wave clear, even with Riftmaker, is still pretty low, to be honest. Well, you might notice that we spent the entire Baron duration just standing next to cannon minions. We can't wave clear against the enemy team because they have Victor, who answers that pretty well. So, I assume that if we back off a little to the Drake, try to deny them access to the jungle, and create a split push opportunity with Dr. Mundo, I realize that if you're not with your team and the red and blue buffs are up, it's better to spend your time doing both instead of rushing to join your team. This will give your team a huge advantage. I wouldn't say it's more advantageous than being with them directly, but it's like sending money to your kids while you're working in another country. They'll appreciate it because Draven will have slow on auto attacks, health regeneration plus unlimited mana and ability haste. That's something you can't provide just by engaging and landing your Q. You might kill the enemy, but you won't be making your team a better player. Now, of course, once we joined the fight, it was a totally different story because at this point, the enemy team was in a very tight position. Let me tell you why. First, Fiddlesticks can't make a sneaky engage. And even if Set tries to rush us, we have Janna and Galio, so it's very hard to kill anyone on our team. And with that, my dear viewers, this was the last play of this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, drop a like, and hit that notification bell. Also, I believe today is the day the new champion will be released, so get ready for a lot of inting across all roles until this champion finds its rightful place among the endless parade of abomination champions from the past few years, known for their unlimited dashes, no counterplay strat, and of course, unlimited skins to milk the players for all their hard-earned money. As always, until the next video, take care everyone. Peace.